Welcome to QuickPod, Tim Ferriss Podcast Audio Summaries, your go-to podcast for concise summaries of Tim Ferriss's best episodes. In each episode, we distill Tim Ferriss's insightful interviews into less than 10-minute summaries so that you can grasp the key takeaways quickly. Today, we're summarizing Tim's episode titled, How to Secure Financial Freedom and Maximize Productivity on The Tim Ferriss Show. This episode is a bit of an anomaly because instead of the usual long-form interviews, Tim Ferriss shares some insights from his own life and answers questions submitted by listeners. He covers a range of topics like health markers, productivity, financial freedom, and everyday carry. Let's dive into it. In this episode, Tim starts off by explaining the premise behind 5 Bullet Friday, a free newsletter where he shares the 5 coolest things he's explored that week. With over 1 million subscribers and a 60% open rate, it's proven to be a hit. The newsletter includes what Tim's reading, gadgets he's experimenting with, and his favorite purchases. The first question Tim tackles is about the top 5 health markers to check and watch regularly. He emphasizes that this is highly personalized and will depend on family history, biochemistry, and individual situations. However, he provides a broad framework that revolves around the fact that above the age of 40, most people are likely to die from one of 4 things: cancer, stroke, heart attack, or neurodegenerative disease. In his case, it's primarily heart attacks and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. To learn more, he recommends listeners visit Tim's blog for episodes featuring Dr. Peter Attia, particularly episode 65. Dr. Attia highlights critical markers like APOE genotype, indicating Alzheimer's predisposition, LDL particle number, LPA, oral glucose tolerance tests, and insulin-like growth factor 1. Tim points out the importance of balancing longevity and performance and how cryotherapy, thermogenics, and intermittent fasting play roles in his own preventative strategies. Moving on, Tim is asked how he manages his contacts given his vast network. He surprisingly reveals that he doesn't use any specific system or software. Instead, he focuses on cultivating relationships with 1 or 2 strong people in each field, enabling him to get just-in-time introductions and contacts, rather than keeping an exhaustive contact list. Next, the episode touches on strategies to prevent or minimize binge eating during stress. Tim shares how eliminating binge trigger foods from the house is a system that trumps willpower. He also stresses the importance of getting breakfast right. An ideal breakfast includes 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, like 3 eggs with spinach and beans. He attributes this practice to reducing calorie intake by 15 to 30% throughout the day. Moreover, fixing breakfast is a lead domino that impacts many other decisions positively, making binge eating less likely. When asked what's next after launching his book, Tribe of Mentors, Tim shares his approach to saying no to 1,000 things and creating space to listen. He emphasizes the importance of carving out time to disconnect, reflect, and gain perspective. Whether it's going off-grid to an Airbnb in the Texas countryside or spending extended trips with family, Tim focuses on enhancing his ability to perceive and listen. The conversation shifts to Tim's everyday carry, EDC, and how he arranges his life. He dislikes clutter and keeps only a few items in his pant pockets, preferring a lightweight fleece vest and a backpack. Some of his EDC essentials include a Rubik's Cube, a headlamp, sprayable zinc, and an eye mask. He also shares that he used to carry a Surefire tactical flashlight, a multi-tool, and a paracord bracelet during his 4-hour chef days. Regarding financial freedom and being better with money, Tim approaches this from a personalized perspective. He suggests that those in substantial debt should start with resources like Dave Ramsey's content or Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He also recommends Ramit Sethi's automated finance system, guest post on Tim's blog. From his personal experience, Tim divides money into getting rich and staying rich. His portfolio includes startups and cryptocurrency on one end and real estate and cash on the other. This barbell approach balances risk and preserves his alpha. Tim emphasizes focusing on asymmetric risk-reward opportunities and capping downside risk first. He also mentioned Warren Buffett, Paul Tudor Jones, and Richard Branson as inspirations in limiting downside risk. Tim encourages seeking unfair advantages by leveraging informational advantages and unique skills, which have helped him succeed in startup investments. He dives into the value of experimenting and challenging oneself, revealing that his own asset allocation isn't necessarily something others should emulate. He advises not to fear money and recommends starting with small, manageable steps. When it comes to productivity, Tim suggests reframing routines as positive constraints that enable people to avoid decision fatigue. He believes routines serve as scaffolding around which to craft a great life and unlock one's unique strengths. On the question of whether introverts should develop extroverted skills or embrace their nature, Tim acknowledges that he's an introvert who has trained himself to be extroverted for short periods. He advocates improving public speaking, which can elevate anyone's career regardless of their personality. As for arranging his home, Tim talks about surrounding himself with artwork and objects that elicit positive emotions and memories, like photos from Matt Mullenweg and Jocko Willink's Discipline Equals Freedom field manual. He avoids clutter and prioritizes a layout that fosters a positive mental state. He also touches on his experience with silent retreats, which, similar to psychedelics, can help one discover the depth of their meditation practice. While silent retreats can reveal profound peace, Tim warns that 10 to 15% of people might face a psychotic break or something close to it, as he did. He credits Jack Kornfield for helping him stabilize after his challenging 10-day silent retreat. To wrap up, Tim introduces a 21-day no-complaint challenge, encouraging listeners to shift their focus from negativity to positive reinforcement. He believes this challenge can tip the domino that will positively impact many areas of one's life. If you enjoyed this summary, make sure to follow QuickPod, Tim Ferriss Podcast Audio Summaries, and check out Tim's original episode for a more in-depth exploration. See you next time.